Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. So there's a couple of things to do. I don't, this is also supporting the web version. I don't really see. I don't really see how I can do that without having completely separate backend things. Or at least on API Gateway, it's like you can hook up a authentication handler, but I don't know how to make that conditional based on which stage it's in. And we could look that up. Wow. Well, it would help if you spelled. It's not that you don't get irrelevant results, when you actually get no results. Okay. So first we have to deploy updated stuff and see if it even... No, that one's confused. Nope, that one's confused. Oh, wait, that's the authentication code. Okay. All right. Well, actually, there's API Gateway. Or select a Lambda authorizer. So that'd probably be a Lambda authorizer. Which probably don't have a Lambda authorizer. Ah. User pools or a Lambda function. Yeah, but I don't know. Stage variables. Logs tracing. Logs are the thing we might need to look into. What is a web ACL? Wait, was that web application firewall? Set of rules. Address ranges. Yeah, I don't think I need to deal with that just yet. I could perhaps do some additional validation of the IDs, although Twitch probably has a bit of their own protection against that. Yes, I don't see any way to do stage specific. Well, this is going to be on dev first. That should be pointing at the just right there. So that should be pointing at the live version. So we've really only had one. Got latest, we only had one published version, which is what web is pointing at. Dev is just an alias to latest. All right. I don't know if I updated index. But it probably wouldn't hurt. Yeah, that is index. I might eventually want to have a better process for this, but I think this covers all of the. Okay, so that was just user lookup. Just events, and then if we've got the ID to also return us the name. All right, so we still pass basic events. I might not need any changes to the front end. Am I doing some kind of... I don't think I put anything special in there. Okay, so that's like a config model? Oh, that's the config screen. Backend.elm is just the URL, which is currently pointing to dev. All right, so that much. That all the web workflow is still working. And we're actually going to want to be testing that on dev to get things working. So now I am probably way out of date on the Twitch dev rig. Hmm. Have they moved away from the rig? Maybe they've got a better flow for doing local stuff. Have they moved away from the dev rig? Extensions developer rig. I'm pretty sure everything I've done with the rig predates this version. All right, now I don't remember if anything's gonna pop up here. Or if it's going to be like capture any information from a previous install and come up with email and stuff. Yes, we trust it. Okay. Twitch developers. Probably the same as the main account. Twitch developers. Okay, so that seems to be right. Oh, maybe that's the Twitch developer website, not the Twitch account. Because they got the forum that's probably got its own authentication. That was a weird turn of events. I think it always throws me off about the text authentication is it comes from a number. It's like, oh, well, that's the number you need to put in. And it needs to do network stuff. All right, we're probably good from there, although there are occasionally some. So is this going to be able to import previous project stuff. Yeah, I had a separate directory for devrig before, and then that kind of had its own little world. Maybe that was an offsite? Because in the old project world, extension sample, you know, once again, I'm not sure there's anything special in there. The ID is probably a public thing. So there's a config file. This is localhost. Localhost.reg, localhost.reg, localhost.reg. Doesn't say where it hosts the files from. Okay, so that is not a project for this version of it. So we're going to have to create a new project. Oh, but it loads it from my known extensions. So this is going to end up being the next version? And actually, I don't remember. Did I just leave that at 0? Yeah, I guess I did. And for me, that would have been like a 1 to 2, except it wasn't even. So it's like we're going to be testing the next version. For building and release. Yeah, maybe I just didn't actually make a new version when we went to... Okay, so we have to be developing against a version that is identified. Our extension files. So as far as you're concerned, it's going to be public. Oh. Okay. Have they improved this interface? All right, project folder, version. I think I have to create versions elsewhere. Project is in the released state. Front end assets in the first box. Your front end to access non-SSL backend. I think that actually is SSL because it's all HTTPS. Invoke a process to run your extension backend locally. We don't actually run it locally, unfortunately. It's one problem with API gateway. So we've got a panel view. So we've got, well, just in case. Use current user, viewer type. Not sure what shared identity is. And then we can edit some context. We've got a new view. Or just logged out. Oh, channel ID. Yeah, channel ID we still need. Logged out user. And one of these can be dark, which we care about. And configuration. Which is just a text page. All right, so this is actually working. This is working. Well, I mean, we're running off our local version, which, okay. So far, there's no trouble. Now, this is actually going to be a new version. So I'm not sure how that works here. Number. Okay, it looked number to me. Version numbers can be number. 1.0.0. Maybe it has to be 1.0? No. Can I do 0.1.0? Can I not go too many steps ahead? No. How about 0.0.2? No. Okay. I guess I can't clone this, so I just have to create a new version. Nope. Nope, not you. Are these just, yeah, these are probably new replies, not new things. Yeah, okay, so the topic is not new. It's embedded player timeline update. Local development. Is an acceptable value for parent. That will be a problem. I haven't actually run into this though. At least last I was looking at it. Anyway, I need to do. Can't create new extension version. Oh, when I reload the page, current newly created version is there. I can upload my assets to it when I try to move to hosted test to get this error. Oh wait, this is August. It's the same error message though. Yeah, this is all 18. Can we sort by latest topic? Well, let's try reload, see if yes, it is that same bug. Okay. Let's go through and delete all of these. I think that's extension settings. We don't want to delete the extension. Screenshot. No. How do I delete a version? There's download development ring. And that's the same thing. Well, okay. In category, actually, let's just browse extension category. All right, let's see. Is there anything on this page? No, there's nothing on this page. Nothing on this page. So this goes to status, this goes to status. I don't see any way to remove a version. Well, actually, this might be okay, that's a useless search. Delete an extension that doesn't have any versions. Actually, do you have project details, configuration service? Refresh manifest. We can change versions to one of the released versions. Uh, all right. So we actually think that we would want to do 1.0. So current status, local test. Assets are hosted on your local machine. So this one was probably our attempt to clone. We have to change the location in a different place. Asset hosting is the next step. View on Twitch. Upload files for hosted test. Can't delete versions. Ah. Find a button to delete a version. You cannot delete their own extensions. Related, yes. I can sort of understand why a published extension couldn't be deleted. Actually, I should probably. I forgot about the Twitch dev Discord too. Version details. Okay, text, text, text. Copied a lot of stuff. Great. I may have to re-upload images. No monetization. Should be no capabilities. Allowed to open. Files, no current assets. Asset hosting. Okay, testing base URL. So then we switch U. To run your front end hosting. Oh, maybe in local test that actually doesn't matter. Okay, so these are still here. HTML panel HTML. Oh, you know what I did? I put actually index is the web view. So this probably just needs to be public. And actually, well, that is called local test. So I need you, and that's public. Project folder. Actually, did I? Okay, save changes stays on the same page. Panel.html. Okay, that's better. Okay, so we think we have this running on there. This is running on dev right now. So we've got extension rig. I need to see Well, if I do cores on API gateway itself, well, I have to make sure to allow the CDN. Okay, that's the function. And we have to update both get and options. So first of all, I need to figure out how we do some kind of logging so I can see what these... Well, okay, so these are going to come from our... Well, no, your reference might be localhost. But then you do have your own little host view in here. I can't get a... You can view in browser. Okay, so yes, this is its own little local server. But it's on localhost. It's not coming from Twitch anywhere. And indeed, in local test, it might not be. Well, actually, no, wait a minute. This much we can figure out. So presumably, if we pop this out, okay, it appears that it is coming directly from Twitch TV. Ooh. Well, that's virtual DOM. On first load in iframe. No? So actually, what we need to do... Deactivate breakpoints, pause on exceptions. So DOM node. Well, I mean, we know DOM node is undefined. Where is it coming from? It's... Where's the stack? It's an argument, child nodes. Okay, what's J? J is 3. In 0 base, that don't work. Nine to 9. That's if. vkids is in fact length 5. Style, h2, svg, footer. Wait, child nodes, dom nodes.child nodes, vkids.length. This suggests, I mean, this is virtual DOM. So vkids is virtual DOM node. Actually, is this one coming up? This one is coming up. That one is coming up. Oh, first load in iframe. So now it's not a problem anymore. Well, maybe that's like a restart the browser type of thing. Unload WFF. Okay, I don't think that's me. Anyway, this, I presume that the origin here is going to be twitch.tv then. So that kind of tells us how to set things up. So API gateway. What level do we put this on? Access control, allow headers. This is just which headers. So maybe we get those values from here? Ah, okay. Access control allow origin. I did want to see, I also want to have some kind of like short-term logging if possible. Stage dev, stage web. Oh, got a few odd hits. This really is just very, very high level. Statistic sum. Metrics. API gateway, lambda test. Execution logs dev. Well, there's a refer. Method response. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's any way to update all of these at once. Well, I guess if I can get localhost to work, then hopefully everything else will work. Okay, so I need to know the syntax. Origin. Only a single origin can be specified? Instead of allowed origins, origin request header. Wait. And across origin, you can have multiple. Oh, geez, it includes the protocol. Only return a single value. Oof. Okay. Core's whitelist. One that is made from a different domain, a different subdomain, a different port, different protocol. Simple. Get head post. Post must include origin. Custom headers. To include access controller origin. The rest of these options. Mock integrations. Request originating server address. Oh, I thought this would just be putting in a list. Now, to be fair, X will only come from, should only come from Twitch. Web should only come from my website. But I don't know. Well, maybe I could use a stage variable. But it means I can't test that stuff without actually uploading to that domain. Well, I guess I've got a version of it on the web. We can go to the web logs. Now, do I only have this turned on for dev? API gateway welcome. Oh. Okay, that did a sort. Okay, that hasn't run in a long time. That hasn't run in a long time. Oh, retention. I mean, I don't even know if I need these things at all. Oh. Well. This seems to be dead. If this really is dev, those have no last event time. I've probably done some loading today. I mean, there's localhost again, so this does seem to be dev. Wait, creation time 2 years ago. Oh no, this is 2018. Okay. So I just don't have this enabled on any of this stuff. Okay. So is that a resource thing? Is that a stage thing? Inherit from, oh. Okay, so there are some things you can override. But it's only CloudWatch and throttling. Oh, I need to look into this too because I do want. It was either going to do other stuff. Logs tracing. API calls, latency. Huh. I probably have to deploy to do that. That might be good for like some early development stuff. Put trace segment, put telemetry records. That's set, not only. That's learn more. Analyze user requests. Analyze latency. I don't know if I need to mess with that right now. So stage variables. Summon history. Canary is used to test new ADA or changes to stage variables. Can receive a percentage of requests. Huh. Okay, interesting. So we were interested in detailed. That's probably useful during testing of stuff. Log level. Okay, so that's kind of what we were looking at before. Oh, log 4 request response data. Don't know if we need that. I probably have to deploy this. The other thing... Well, this is dev, so that's fine. And then if we do something... Well, no, it probably has to be deployed to change the settings. But that's dev. We wouldn't want to do cores in it anyway. Well, so we still have to figure out how to do that. Well... it's not create. Oh, nope. Okay, so stage updates are immediate. Dev can probably be like 1 day. Oh, well, it created it, but it hasn't actually put any data into it, so maybe I do have to deploy. Dev is pointed at the live lambda, so there's no issue there. So stages. The performance is probably going to be too much different. So the metrics will probably give me some of the stuff, and then log errors. Now for web, we have at least this. So we updated this code. I don't think there's anything that needs to change here. Oh no, the version is optional. Okay, so version 2, aliases, web. How do I update alias? Alias configuration. So that will actually be more of a live change, I believe. because the stage is going to web and then web. No, because you give permission to aliases. So the permissions should be okay. I don't know how long it's going to take to percolate. And did I deploy? I'm still on here. So maybe I didn't. All right, so dev. Okay, so we did change that. And then we've got web, which maybe we do a little bit more on that. Oh, here's a problem. It has to be protocol specific. Ooh. Oh no, because it doesn't have a name yet. Yep, no logs yet. So we would have to assume HTTPS, which I mean, you generally probably should. That's going to be a stage variable again, or the allowed origin. So that goes into lambda alias. So web stage, I guess you would set this one up first. So we test pretty much exclusively from here, which, does the port matter? Only a single origin. CORS error on same domain. How to allow all ports from a given host. So that seems to be maybe no. Only by, not restricted by ports, but only by host names. Will not, your browser will not send CORS request headers. A local host is an exception. Not treat different ports on local host as different origins. So maybe it sends the origin header if it thinks it's a cross-origin request, and that's what things tends to use to say, okay, you're allowed. This is a request. It doesn't really say get or put or anything. Yep, status code. So that's the response. Refer. And that's request URL. Same origin. Get requests and an origin header. Doesn't include origin, same origin requests. Including same origin requests. Host origin and host origin. Well, I guess what we test for. So you're going to be HTTP localhost. And we have to go through all of these. So where did we actually implement, that would be integration request? Well, no, you're a mock. Stage variables dot. And that's that thing. So presumably, that would be what you would use for these. Now, we've got deployment latency and we've got possible browser caching. Oh gosh, what did I call it? Allowed origin, allow origin. Allowed origin, because we only get one. Now, this commit. So this is only on the options request. Actually, if it stops doing pre-flight, I might need to... let's see, so on our standard reload, it would probably be this one, and probably be this one. Okay, so that's only doing origin. It's the application JSON. So we would do this to dev. Now, that might not deploy right away. Yeah, that's still star. So it kind of has to work its way through the system to actually become what we're using. Meanwhile, right, so this is, you can do variable if you do the HTTP style integration. Maybe that's one of the reasons they do that, because you have to do these variable header things. Yeah, stage name. Can contain child resources, and its method does not recursively enable it for child resources. The any method in a proxy integration not be set. Backend must return. Hmm. Notice that specific origins again. Particular behavior only for 200 answer. Ah. For each method, all of the response methods that should be supported for each response code that was about ports. Function user agent. Origin foo access allow star. To allow access to the resource should contain the value that was sent in the origin header. Maybe, well, you could mirror, but saying the same as the requesting site is going to be the same as star, basically. That's where the request came from. Ah, okay, so something about redirects. Simple request. Determine the URL the real provided request would end up at. Must specify an origin. Does that tell me anything? Cross origin blocked. Okay. Does not it does not process stage variable. Uh Main to allow or specify a dictionary with additional cores. That might be specifically their serverless thing, which you might want to look at some point. And as Lambda functions, use a customized HTTP integration endpoint. Endpoints your it's an integration. This is just stage variables. Saw that already. This is their YAML stuff. Okay, so this is the automatic adder, which failed. Support different origins. More than one domain. Parsing the origin from the request. So you're using the default integration. Lambda function, lambda proxy integration. Originally, I was thinking I could do something like this to get it to work. Will not work. Oh. Mapping templates. Context response override dot header. Template. All it does is set. Okay. So where the heck are the mapping templates? This is under stages. I was doing this one. Mapping templates, application JSON. Well, we've got application JSON. Generate template from models. Title empty schema. I don't think I was actually using these for anything. That's name. Unexpected pound. That's just an outstanding issue. So is it not valid for a model, but it is valid for a template? Model name must be in alphanumeric characters. Okay. So that might explain something about this. Invalid model schema. Okay, so we can't use this to save the content. We just have to copy pasta every time. Fabulous. All right, so that's technically an override. That is complete garbage. So we'll just have that there for now. Then we have to deploy it again. And then we have to wait for that to percolate. So in the meantime, cache your endpoint's responses. $300. Maximum TTL is 3,600 seconds. That's an hour? Minute? Oh, no, minute 60 seconds. That must be an hour. Only get me. Okay, yeah. So I was going to do like 24-hour caches. That's really probably more important for the extension. So I wouldn't do that for dev. Well, you have to store the caching, but it saves you from making requests. 30 seconds is what, like 5 minutes? Per key cache invalidation. Invalidate an entry. A client of your API. Client must set cache control, max age. Provided the client is authorized to do so. Yeah, it's not that big a deal. Well, actually, I don't want this on yet because we're going to be testing stuff. Oh, cross origin. So it didn't immediately show up as blocked. Header missing? Or invalid? And are you the get or you're the get? Did I misspell my variable name? Without origin. Without origin. So that's odd. Because you have a value. I guess maybe if it set it to blank. What if we did something weird? Like that. Oh, do I have to save this? And then... Well, and we have to wait again. So the API cache is a separate thing. So if I was going to stick a CDN on it anyway, maybe that wouldn't do a whole lot. See, do I have anything that's in a good place to actually be set up? Well, if I'm going to be adding chorus headers now, maybe, what is it, Cloud Front. Do you do cores? Because maybe it'd be easier to set up there. So I've mostly just done S3 stuff so far. Origin domain name. Well, I guess if we just don't worry about it, but custom headers. So maybe you could do all of the cores stuff here. And you could essentially have one CDN for every origin. Now, we've gotten ourselves into the creation path here. I think I had to add, that's a different kind of origin. Because I do fetch some data. Dynamically. That's where we get data from. To which paths we match. No, that's S3. Maybe it forwards from S3. So the things that are going to be network requests are going to be things like this. Although, actually, if the entire thing is... Well, this is all just S3 again. But this might count as same origin. So it wouldn't necessarily provide... Yeah, you see, it didn't even include the origin header. So if I redid the web version, I didn't have to work out a redirect, as the entire thing being a CDN, then it wouldn't even be cross-origin. Of course, Twitch is going to be cross-origin, so we still have to deal with it. So you actually aren't an issue because of the CDN. Maybe it would be in local development? Then again, I'm also using local files there for the most part. I'm actually kind of amazed there wasn't more topics on this. API gateway. Well, maybe it's passing through S3. So apparently that's an S3 thing right now, which implies that CloudWatch is in general going to use origin stuff. So we expect foo here, or none. Okay, that's a none. Oh no, it's internal server error. So it doesn't like the format of that template. Oh, well, I mean, that's... You know what? It looks like there may have been a tab in there. I wonder if that messes it up. No, that's the same. Yeah, that's just how this thing indents. Although, does that mean we have... Execution failed, unable to transform a response. Okay, so it did in fact not like that. So this thing doesn't really give us anything. Will that be valid as a model? Models are declared using JSON schema. We're doing just a meta command. Response data mapping. API's request and response to a Lambda function. Context variables. Context.stage. Maybe I need more stuff down here? Because that seems to be valid. Well, if the header thing is valid. I mean, maybe I still have to have a standard mapping template down here. Or maybe he was just doing it for origin, which doesn't return a body. Stage variables. Stage variable name, variable name, variable name. That's sort of it. Request override dot header, which is what we're doing. Oh, geez. Context dot response override dot header. Using the quote version because it has dashes. Being template overrides cannot be used with proxy right? Because you just return the response. only applied once. Response status code, parameters and headies. Console. CL, is this the console? Set input root. Response override dot status. Header 1 override. Set, set, set. Oh, so I should be able to test this. Response headers. Okay. Response body before transformation. Wait. Response body no data. Okay, so we do have to do some stuff with the input, or with the actual data. He was probably doing the options request. So now we need to know how to pass this through unmodified. Is this input.json? Aha. Status 200, response body. Response headers. And this will probably make it a valid template if we want to do... Well, okay, so we can't... There's empty. Oh, so there is an empty schema. Oh, maybe the model actually isn't exactly it. Ah, okay. So it generates it from there, but it's a schema. Okay, so that's not useful. I thought that would be an easy way to copy stuff around. All right, so all of these. Get that. And then all of the options. Get this. Oh, and one of these had much step header mappings too. Oh, header mappings, yes. And I saw something about integration response in there. So you could potentially reflect stuff back. Well, maybe there's also a variable for request. We could reflect back the origin parameter. We kind of need something that's doing some degree of checking. All right, so that has to percolate again. I have not added this to here. This is only going to be the origin, so we shouldn't have to worry about the path. So dev web, what is... I mean, these are different days. This is still pretty... Latency is a bit worrisome, but since these are all independent requests, I presume that we're having to go through the whole authentication loop thing. Can we look... Well, yeah, web. I might believe that. So maybe they're in a different time zone. Yeah, that might be something to look at, because if we're just sitting here refreshing... Well, it's probably infrequent enough that they're shutting down the Lambda. So it has to start up the Lambda. It has to get authentication. All right, is this up? Test control allow origin. Does not match. Is that the provided origin? Or the one that we actually think we're at? Well, request should be okay. So that's a really bad error message because the header is that, but it does not match 8,000. So that's that browser-specific behavior. All right. So dev might actually stay star, but for testing purposes, we need to see if this is what it takes. Input params. Oh. So that's header 1. So we could mirror origin back. But this doesn't really have the logic to do well. Request validator. Against what? Yeah, I mean, maybe the validator ends up being down here? This must be headers on the receiving end. Okay, so ports do matter. We will not be able to use the extension with the, well, No, what we can probably do is have dev be star. Because I'm just going to go into the variable. I guess that asterisk. This might be general stage variable. Oh, maybe. No. That's in use of the variable. But it still doesn't allow that character, which is weird. Stay API gateway stage variable escape character? I mean, I guess the other option is we have like multiple dev stages. We have like extension dev. And then we just have to switch our backend URL setting to use a different stage with the Twitch extension dashboard or extension rig tool. So we see what that port is and allow that. This might be one of those things where you go ask around. How about API gateway stage variable syntax? Well, there's ARNs. ARNs aren't allowed apparently. Stage variable. for lambda functions. That seems like a stage variable names. Was I typing in the wrong field? Alphanumeric characters. So I guess we have to have like our rig variable, like a rig stage. So this is where it gets really awkward, unfortunately. Create an alias. Well, no. We don't need an alias for you. Your dev is going to be the same thing. Okay, we cannot copy you. Okay, none of that. We may not need that. So we have lambda alias dev. Allowed origin. This means I won't be able to go back and forth between the rig and... right, we're done with you. And regular web view. All right, so this does not pop out. Wait a minute, how do you work? Because you're dev. So as long as it specifies any port, it doesn't actually check that the ports match. Okay. I guess we don't need this stage after all. All right. So we have means to set up. haven't tested this yet. Have we? I probably haven't deployed this yet. We can check that in a minute. We do have to create an extension stage at some point. Which is also going to mean setting up some of this stuff. So this seems to be fine. Now, permissions were a real pain when using aliases. That much I remember. I might actually end up having to do multiple versions of ext because of if we do version switchovers in the future. So there might be like version 1, version 2. Huh, so that was actually the web deployment. Even though it was only on changing stage variables. Maybe stage variables don't need deployment. So this won't have permission right off the bat. This is also a thing that we're going to have to test in the actual Twitch. Because it appears that the dev rig is running off of localhost, not off of Twitch. So there is some issue there. Oh, right. You set up stage variables when you test things. So this is going to fail because we don't have permission. Did I have to do this through the API console? Or through the CLI. There's a CloudFormation snippet. Okay, that's not quite it. Did I ever? No, I didn't take notes on that, I don't think. Permissions. Example function policy. Of the Lambda console. I seem to recall I still had to do logs. Yeah. Not even listed. Right, so that does it for very, very simple things. It will not do it for aliases. That's like serverless. That's something else. Oh boy. I don't remember where I got the example statement last time. Add permission, function name my function. API gateway. I have to do that for each one. Invoke function. Oh no, this is returning the statement that results from all of that. Source arn. So I need to know what the source arns for all my things are. Function name, invoke function. It might have to be... I need this to be specific to... gateway, lambda, and aliases. Expected output. Add permission. Statement policy value is set in the Lambda function resource policies. Lambda blah 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 function. US West something. Blah 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 blah. All stages get. API gateway, statement ID. What's the statement ID? You defined your lambda function as just manually. Okay, so this actually sort of has the invocation. So we have to like edit that. And it might give us to us. Integration. So star. Oh, that's going to be get user. So we have to principal do that for each. Or maybe I just move the star back. Now, the problem is they give you this statement ID. What is that? What is that? Differentiates this statement from others in the same policy. No explanation. These don't have it though, which is interesting. You know what? This is now irrelevant. This, they actually used to do this on Twitch. And now they don't. So I'm not yet sure if we can wildcard this. Oh, I put that character in there. So I'd like to be able to say anything on this API can do it, but I don't know if this goes for arbitrary. Because like, that's only one path component here. So maybe I need star star. Okay, so that one's good. User ID. This actually doesn't matter for this test. Okay, so this also seems to have permission. And this has permission. However, because we have an access control origin, we can't really test this. Well, there's like curl and things that don't do all of that junk. I'm a little bit ambiguous on exactly what the deployments include and don't include. At stages. This is the ARN. And okay. So in theory, that's set up. I probably want to do some of the extension configuration stuff. Let's see. So that is there. So if I switch this over, how do we properly indicate this? So in theory, we've got that set up, but slightly tested. We've not actually configured a CDN yet, which I guess for initial local testing, you wouldn't necessarily want that in the mix. And we've got a compiler going. So in theory, we've saved this with the localhost. So local test. So how you on Twitch and install version 1.0. Okay, so that's my configure page, which apparently doesn't do the colors. Oh, interesting. So they put the version in there. Set that one as panel 2. Replace. Actually, this is technically localhost, so it might not, yeah. Because we're still technically running on localhost here. Let's... Okay. So that works in contest on local. What is the next step? Can you go to the next? Oh, version details. So status doesn't have the next step button. Oh, next steps. You on Twitch and install, upload files for hosted test. Use the asset host to hide the location of your files. Testing base URI. Upload files for hosting. That's assets. Choose files. Okay. Do we have anything left over? We've got work. New. Well, it should be basically public. Single zip file. Probably not with a directory. Okay, so we have an asset package. Okay, so move to hosted test. Base URI shouldn't matter. Unless it's just like slash. Lifecycle. From the base URI. Once you're in hosted test, you want to change any of your extension version details. Ooh, okay. Okay, so 1.0 is not part of the formal name. They just differentiated them. And then after that's done, you can go into review. Move back. All right, we did that. We should have recompiled. Did I close that already. Oh, this is not, so it's not doing anything. Oh, I had this site in pause on exceptions. Not match https twitch.tv. But this is what it reported here. www.twitch.tv. And I don't know if I have to deploy for this or not. So I don't know how long I'm going to have to wait for that. Yeah. Wait. That's www. This is www. And I probably do need to go back and fix the error message because it's not a Twitch error anymore. Pray tell, where the heck did that request happen? Oh. Maybe my origin is X Twitch TV. Isn't that interesting? So if this is a cross-origin request, yep. So this is probably an extension-wide thing. And furthermore, I still have to CDN this. So that will take a moment to deploy. All right. So we have cores. I need to update error message. Not necessarily Twitch error. We have to configure the CDN and get all of that stuff pointed there. Other stuff is all feature updates, which starts to move into even further versions. Okay, and that actually worked. All right, so I can leave that on mine for a little bit to try and make sure it's working. Oh, what I didn't do is this. While I'm in testing stage, probably want all of that stuff. Probably shouldn't need that. Not sure if I need to deploy again. Turn down logging before we final deploy. Or go into, well, maybe during review, maybe that's after approval. All right, and all of that was way the heck too late. So I am way late for lunch. That's going to be it for now. Thanks to the subscribers. Thanks to the people who hosted me. This is, well, I guess I could have used the on-screen one, but that is what we are, what I am usually on. So I guess some days, well, those old ones were when I was doing Stepmania. So it's a little bit of a late day, but so it goes. Bye-bye.